Hey, it's Thursday. It's 3 p.m. It's, what is it? October 22nd. And today is the 32nd episode of Litvak Leadership Live. So I'm here with my special guest, Jason Nicholson. How are you, Jason?
Good, really good. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
I am so excited to talk with you because I got to tell you, you and I had talked about this topic once before, and I had actually considered, here we go. And we're going to start getting some funny comments, I'm sure. Calvin is here. Kenny is here. So, and I had actually considered doing what we're going to talk about, but with another company, and they would have been nowhere near as good as your company. But, you know, let me ask you first, just as we wait for some people to pop in, throughout your experience and career, what do you think is the number 3 thing you have learned?
The number 3 thing?
The number 3 thing. So in your head, think for a minute, okay, this is most important. I'd say this is second most important. What's number 3?
Because I'm thinking, in my career, but I usually relate things to spiritual things too. So
okay,
usually,
spiritual things are good.
God and family, all those things are first. But probably surrounding yourself with people that have strengths that you don't have. Because I can do things. Some things I can do pretty good, but there's a lot of things that I'm okay at. But when I find, especially like on the musician side, I've done worship for a long time. When I surround myself with musicians that are really good at things that I'm not good at, then that really helps the whole team, right? And you can translate that to anything, to music, to business, or whatever. So when I'm surrounding myself with people that have great strengths, that's where you're going to find great success. And I think there's a lot of, great CEOs that would say the same thing, that, they're not great at every single thing. And you don't have to be, the best at every single, whatever skill. You just surround yourself with the right people, and that'll help you in your success.
Now, and let's talk about being a musician for a minute. And hey, for everyone who's watching, if you see me sweating today, that's because it's like 82 degrees in Louisville, Kentucky. I've got the windows open to get a breeze. I got the ceiling fan on, but this is probably the last day of warmth, I'm thinking. So I don't want to turn on the AC. I want to just enjoy it. So I know that you play keyboards. I know that you can sing. I know you play the trombone. Right. What other instruments do you play?
Those are the main. A little bit of guitar, but it's been a while on that, so it probably doesn't sound good. And even in college, I have my music degree from Morehead State.
Oh, okay.
So I started out on the education side.
Hilltoppers?
No, it's the Eagles.
Oh, Eagles. Go Eagles. Okay.
It's all right. But I was an education major at first with music, so we had to play about every instrument and learn it. So, play a little bit of clarinet and this and that. But really, mostly trombone, piano are my main ones, I would say.
Yeah, I've seen Jason hitting those keyboards like, I was wondering if he was going to put his fist through the keyboard times. Of course, this was in church too, and church is always active music. If you don't know what I'm talking about by church being active music, go find another church. Find the active music church. But anyways, okay, so today we are going to talk about entrepreneurship, the entrepreneurial spirit. And, I didn't know until I was approached by someone about starting an insurance agency that different companies out there, Farmers Insurance, does this, that they have a whole system in place. So Jason was a claims supervisor for years and then has moved on to be a recruiter. So what was that transition like? Why did you leave the exciting world of claims to be a recruiter?
Yeah, and I was in claims most of my career. I've been with Farmers Insurance 23 years.
Okay.
And so I started out in the claims side, and it was really good. It's fulfilling for me because that side of it is the customer service piece, and you're getting to really help people when they need it. I did everything from regular local claims to I traveled around and I was on the catastrophe team for a while. So doing the wildfires,
Oh, I
and
remember that.
hurricanes and tornadoes, all of that. And, that was definitely was exciting. And it's just neat to be a part of that when, people are going through that. And, you get to help start putting them back together. So, Farmers has been a great company for me. Obviously, you and I, we both believe in integrity and all of that.
Hmm.
And so Farmers to me has been that. And so that's what I've appreciated about Farmers, how we do it and how we handle customers. But I went through. I was a claims adjuster. I was on the supervisor side for a while. Did a lot of project management, technology rollouts, and then it just seemed there was a transition in my life, and it was time for something new. My first part of my career was helping on the customer service facing side, and now that was very fulfilling. And then now I'm on that recruiting side where I'm helping folks realize their dream and becoming a business owner. And so that's now fulfilling. So yeah, that was kind of, I guess, what that transition was like. They did some restructuring in the state. This opportunity came open. I was like, hey, I've been around the company. I've seen a lot of different things. That helps me build rapport with, with candidates I'm talking to and letting them know about the company and that type of thing. And so it really has been a good transition. And I'm just really enjoying what I'm doing and talking with people and then finding out this is the path for them. And I'm not a high pressure person. So
Yeah.
if this is the path for them, great. If it's not for them, hey, that's okay too. To me, it's always worth the conversation and talking to somebody because if they're, at that point, they're wanting to build something their own and, take this adventure, I'm glad to work with them.
So as you talk to people, because I'm sure you are talking to people from, I mean, it's a trite phrase, but it's true. All walks of life.
Right.
People with various levels of education, people with various fiscal means, people that have either had been very successful professionally, people that have struggled professionally because maybe they were meant to be an entrepreneur. What has inspired you the most amongst the people you've talked about this opportunity with?
Yeah, well, it's maybe kind of what you're talking about. Some people have, they have tried some things in the past and maybe they weren't successful. And, it's hard when you're taking a risk. An entrepreneur is a risk taker, right? That's one of
Yeah.
the things about being an entrepreneur is that you are taking a risk because, you may have someone who's tried to open maybe their own mom and pop shop or what have you. And that's tough because you really don't have a big backing maybe as far as maybe a big brand. So you're trying to build a footprint and you're trying to, make your way and you're trying to build something from the ground floor. So, somebody that's done that inspires me. And so what I like about this opportunity now is, with the brand that I'm with, that we have a lot of backing and recognition. You just sang the jingle a while ago, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's part of it, the brand recognition. And so people just being able to take that risk and that, to do it again, to try it again and build something of their own. That's inspiring.
And I just see your employer, Farmers Insurance, as more of a, maybe because of the commercials, fun-loving company, as opposed to that company with the hands and the other company that's out on the farm. I just see and I guess farmers could be out on the farm, but I don't think of them like that. I think about them in the museum. But I see Farmers as being more of a fun organization. Would you say, Farmers is a fun company, even though they've got that whole like insurance thing going on?
It really is. It's really a family atmosphere too. I mean, you and I were, we went to church together, and so you build good relationships when you're in a church. But I can say that a lot of great relationships over my years with Farmers are just solid, lifelong relationships, and that's a part of it. When you come into a company, yeah, you're going to make some money and that type of thing. But to me, the key is relationships, building relationships with folks with you, and a lot of fun people. Farmers is really fun. Those commercials, they kind of show it. You get Professor Hook in there. I mean, it's fun watching those commercials, and then a lot of people don't realize too that the University of Farmers is a real place.
Really?
It is. So we have campuses in Los Angeles and Phoenix, and then Grand Rapids, and then they were
I'd rather go to Phoenix.
right, exactly. But they were voted #1 in the world by the Training Magazine as a training organization in 2010, and since then been in the top 10. So just a great quality caliber organization.
So another entrepreneur, Calvin Bader, wants to know what kind of investment is required to get started in this career.
Yeah, and that depends on which company you're with. I can tell you with ours, we don't have like a franchise fee or anything like that. So it's great that you get to become your own business owner and get to use the farmer's name, but you're not having to pay a franchise fee. Now we do look for capitalized candidates, so we have some opportunities that don't require to show capital, and you don't pay that to farmers. But there's one opportunity that you just have to show 50,000 capital, and it could be in various different forms, and one that you have to show 10,000. So either way, depends on which entry point you want to come in. So with that, we provide all the training. When you first come in, it's kind of a trial period where you're kind of trying things out. So you don't have to have an office. You don't have to have staff. We're going to market for you. You'll get paid commissions like anybody else. So with that, it's kind of a low stakes entry point. So you don't have to have a lot. Eventually you want to get to a point where you're going to open your own office. And so you'll have some overhead for your office, like lease fees and things like that. So with us, it's really it's a great program. I've been with farmers 23 years. This is probably one of the best programs I've seen farmers have, for sure.
So you say you don't have to have an office. I mean, in the age in which we find ourselves, which I really wish was more like the age of Aquarius, but it's the age of other stuff, and not like the bad stuff in the age of Aquarius for those people watching the replay. So, Jason and I went to church together. That's not what I meant. But do you even need an office anymore?
That's a great question.
Is there a benefit to it?
So we have a couple different opportunities where we still do have retail offices, because it's important to have that visual, as a brand. But we try to look for ways to cater to the customer. How do they want to do business? So, even our retail offices, they have ways that they can do the digital marketing and, the working by email or paying online, those types of things. But we do have opportunities that are more of a virtual type position where you work out of a shared office space. So if you've heard of like Liquid Space or Regis, where people, where you can have a shared office space, that's one of our opportunities where, hey, if they have a Regis, then, maybe 3 days out of the week, they're going to work virtually and, do some calls, marketing, networking, that type of thing. But maybe a couple of days out of the week, they want to go into the Regis and actually meet with some customers. So we have an opportunity like that now that's kind of really flowing with, like you said, this more digital and media age. And obviously we're focusing a lot on the social media ads and all that digital marketing too.
It's just surprising to me that I have people try to sell me stuff all the time, whether personally or professionally, and you book a meeting with them and there's a video option. And the number of people that won't show their face. Yeah. I just don't get it. It's like, okay, if we're using this technology to leverage it, why won't you show your face? I mean, so many people are working from home. So I guess my point is it generation, so what would I be? I guess immediately after the baby boomers is Generation X.
I think that's right.
I scooted into that by 1 year. I am not a baby boomer. I just scooted into Generation X. And then after that are the millennials. Yes, I believe so. So is it that X and millennials will do things remotely, but then you get to the greatest generation, the baby boomers, right. And like my mother-in-law and my mother are both in their 80s. I can't see them having a video chat to buy a product. I see them wanting to go in person. I mean, right. Is it that kind of breakup?
Yeah, and there is a lot of that, but we are seeing some data too that even some of the younger folks are wanting, they like getting stuff in the mail. Makes them feel important because they're so blasted with the social media. But we are seeing some uptick on that type of actual physical marketing too sometimes. Yeah. But we do see the value in the actual physical presence of an agent, because ultimately, like you see the commercials with farmers at the end, Professor Burke says, go to farmers.com, get a quote. So they'll initiate the quote there, but ultimately we funnel them back out to our local agents because we want the agent to build that relationship. because that's the part of it. We're not going to force everything down their throat, but as they're building that relationship, getting to know that customer, they can find out, oh, okay, this can help you out. We want to protect this or protect that. And so that's where the bang for the buck is building that relationship with your customers.
So I'm sure that, pre-COVID, you guys have a history of how many agencies you were opening. How has it been? If you look at it, let's throw March and April out the window, okay? Because everyone just kind of like sat at home and ate pizza, or worked too. But sat at home, ate pizza, and worked. What has it been like June forward? Has it been like the pre-COVID levels, or is it creeping up? What's it doing?
Mm-hmm. So I'll be honest. When COVID started hitting, they started shutting things down. I was really, kind of nervous as a recruiter. But then what I began to do is just capitalize on, the opportunity and what was going on in the environment and how could we make that successful. So farmers did really good in regard to our training, which part of it was already virtual, but then we had classroom weeks. Well, they quickly changed that to where it was a total all virtual. So with that, I just really began to focus on that for my candidates that, hey, if you're ever looking to be into your own business and starting it and trying it out, now's the time to do it. Because if you're at home, now's the time to start working on license. Now's the time to really try this business out, because we can do that all virtual, can do it flexible. You can still work your current job if you're doing that and do this all at the same time. And that way you're starting to ramp things up and really seeing, okay, is this a path for me? Is it going to take me where I want to be? So with that, it's probably, this has been my most successful year, actually.
Really? So explain that. How has this been? Because you know what? I hear that from people in various fields. Eric Bam at Perfect Crust Pizza Liners going through the roof selling pizza liners. How has this been your most successful year?
Yeah, I think just like I said, just capitalizing on the way we were able to do this whole virtual world and help people get that start, because it really helped them to step back, from the crazy grind of what they've been doing. And, they either got forcefully to step back or they were just kind of looking at this world as a whole. And in doing that, they're able to reflect and maybe get a re-step on what they wanted to be and do. And so I think that's allowed me to really help people and guide them into, taking those initial steps to really say, hey, let's just try this out and give it a go. And because if there ever was a time, now's the time to do it. And, farmers did a lot of great things too to help those new agents and extending deadlines, extending times before you actually had to have an office open, and giving some additional bonuses, things like that. So it really has been a great time to start a business if you're looking to do it.
So who is, we all have targets. Who is your, target prospect? The statement that you can do anything. Well, yeah, you can do anything if you plan not to do anything, right? Anything is possible if you're willing to put in the work. So who is your target person that that if someone is sitting here watching this and going, I wonder if this could be for me? I mean, is that step one? And then what turns into the rest to determine if it could be for them?
Yeah, really so. And if it's, if you've been thinking that, hey, I want to be my own boss, I want to build something that's my own, I'm tired of working for somebody else and making money for somebody else, I want to kind of be in charge of my own destiny per se, and you're passionate, kind of that risk taker, then, hey, that's a first step in doing it. And I know the other week, Calvin talked a little bit about setting some goals and then just do what you can right now. And so that, you're able to do that with this and, set some goals. And, if you're wanting to open up a business, set a time that you can do it. Our program has a lot of flexibility where you can do that. You have time before you have to launch that office to set that. But definitely somebody who's passionate, somebody who's involved in community. No doubt in insurance, it's you can make some good money in insurance, but one of our big focuses is community. And so, being a business owner, you do own this business with us. So you own that book of business. And it's a business that, you get to really support what you want to support. So we believe in that. So if you're, a charity person, whether it's Habitat for Humanity or what have you, Farmers is there to back you up. We have a lot of like co-op and cost share dollars to help you support those things. So I've seen that my whole career. I've got the 3 kids up, Luke had went through all those open heart surgeries when he was young. And, I saw farmers there, even for me on that personal side, then with supporting March of Dimes and supporting Make-A-Wish. And so, we want to find out what's important to, the business owner and be able to support them and help them to put back into the community. Because that's a big part of it. It's your business and you want to do what you believe in. You want to build trust. And that's a big part of really starting out, is building that footprint, building that trust in the community.
So I know some people are test phobic. I think I'm looking at one to the other side of you. I know when I've taken tests, I am not necessarily a good test taker,
Sure.
but I can have a conversation. I understand business. What do you do about the test phobic people? Because you've got to take that licensing test, right?
Yeah, and that's usually one of the toughest parts of getting into this, is taking that first test. There are some options, like here in Louisville and actually in Indianapolis. There's some places that actually do an in-person class, to where it's like a 3-day class, and they're going to teach you what's to the test and the basic concepts. And most of them have a 100% guarantee rate. So, I mean, if you don't pass the state exam at the first time for some reason, they'll work with you at no additional cost till you do. So those are probably the ways that I would recommend do it, because you can do the self-study and some of the video packages. Those are great too. But if you don't have insurance experience, doing those 3-day classes it's a really good way to do it, for sure.
It's like drinking from a fire hose, but I guess you can regulate it enough.
Right. Exactly.
So, okay. So someone gets started and they, we're going to say they get an office, although I don't see the point of an office anymore. But let's say they get an office. Should they be hiring people up front to, more hands raise the water, more revenue? Or should they be trying to do everything themselves just to gain the experience? What do you all recommend?
Yeah, we do like to have staff up front, but we don't put a lot of guidelines, being they have to have somebody that work this many hours or pay them this much. We give them a lot of flexibility, because they could have a person there that maybe they just want to write for commission only, just for a short period or a few hours a week, just for some extra money. What that does, anything that person writes, for the business owner, it's going to go toward that business owner's, goals and the bonuses and all of that. So it's going to help. Plus, it's going to give that business owner some time to get out and network. So, that way, maybe they've got somebody in the office that can, make changes or, take calls, and that business owner is getting out networking and, getting in with the Chamber of Commerce, or, doing all types of other things. But definitely, we've seen the data too, in regard to, if you have staff when you start out, then that you're going to see the difference of, okay, here's a person without staff and here's a person with staff, as far as what their productivity is. So with us, there are some companies that will require you to have a staff person that is working full time and what have you. So, and that's tough, and that's scary for a new business owner, right? That you're having to support, a staff person right off. So that's why we're a little bit more flexible at the beginning, to allow you to say, okay, whatever your situation is, we're going to work with you. That way you can kind of begin to build up to, having, full staff and even multiple staff, as you're growing.
So what about, and this is the scary part also. Well, there's lots of scary parts for some people, but health insurance. You suddenly go from working for someone where they provide health insurance at a shared cost to you,
right?
And then you're an entrepreneur, and you suddenly find out that, that whatever I paid a month, well, if I was paying this much, my employer was actually paying this much
right.
on top of it. I mean,
Right.
How does that work?
Right. Yeah. For us, I'm not sure how it is in some other companies, but with us, we do have some benefits at group rates. So it's all the medical, dental, and all of that. So yes, it's still going to be, because you're, as a business owner, you're on contract, and it is at group rates. So it may not be as cost effective or whatever, as less cost as what you were when you're an actual employee, but it's at group rate. So it's still less than if you were all by yourself, trying to get some insurance. So that is one thing that we're doing to help out our business owners.
Yeah, because I think people I'm sure that's one of the top questions people ask you is, what about health insurance?
Right.
So let's pivot a moment and talk a little bit more about music. I know that
Mhm.
I have seen you um, play and worship and praise in churches. Have you ever done any kind of music outside of a outside of faith in a more secular setting?
Yeah, well, definitely in college, I was a music major. So, we did the jazz bands and marching bands and symphony bands and all of those. And I really enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun when you're playing in a big orchestra or what have you. It's great fun. And I can appreciate that type of music. I don't always listen to orchestra music, but I can certainly
Sure.
appreciate it because I know the difficulty and how to blend all that. So I do love that. I have played in some stage bands and local, communities and such. So that's been fun too. Um, but yeah, most of my focus now, usually at church. Yeah.
So, and it was in the middle of the lockdown, as I like to call it. Some people say nicer things about the phrase, but I'm just calling it a lockdown because that's what it was. Um, and you came on for a period of time. You were doing your own live stream on Facebook where you'd get on with your keyboards and just singing praise. How long were you doing that for?
Yeah. It was several weeks did that. And then of course, Luke plays drums. And so, when he was able, we would play together too. And, it was a time that, a lot of people were just worried and a lot of fear and, the unknown and people going through tough times and, loneliness, depression. And so, I just felt, impressed to get on and start doing that and just, just try to play some peace out there and let people know we're thinking about them. And then just have a time of worship where Facebook was nice that you can kind of have a little bit of a community and a little bit of a connection because people are
Oh
there
yeah.
with you live and doing chats. And so, if you're calling out somebody's name while you're, watching them, it's nice and makes you feel good. And that turned out to be, there's a lot of people that were going through some tough things. And, I'd always say, hey, I'd be glad to pray with you. And a lot of people had messaged me. And so it was, just gave a nice opportunity to really just show people you're caring and letting us all be together.
So I know your youngest son plays drums. He's a BMX bike machine. He takes after you like that. But what about your daughter? Does she play any instruments?
She's played piano a little bit, but I think she's mostly been focusing on volleyball. She loves
Okay.
volleyball. That's been kind of her passion. Been doing really good. This was her freshman year at Jeff High, and so really enjoy watching her play and do that. So that's definitely fun. And she's quiet, but she does have a pretty voice too. She's just shy about singing.
She's the quiet one.
She is. She's quiet, but she's sneaky though.
Yeah. And everyone is like, "Yeah, my kids are quiet." I'm like, "No, they're not. Nobody's kids are quiet. Just have them get relaxed, and out it comes."
Right. Right.
So, what do you recommend if someone is considering, doing something like this, entrepreneurial, maybe insurance? What kind of questions should they be asking themselves? And, what would be the right answers that they would, be coming out of their mouths?
Yeah, I mean, one, they want to find out, is this something I want to do? Is it, do I want to build something my own like this? Do I want to leave a legacy and, go that route? Is it something I'm willing to risk? The timing, what's going on with the season, even your personal finances and what's happening, because that makes a difference, right? Do I have the right people to surround me, the right resources, coaches, mentors, things of that nature. And then, kind of like we talked before, just kind of setting goals. But really, if it's something that you've kind of had, usually somebody has had that really kind of in the back of their mind for a while, that they've really wanted to build something of their own. And I think that's really kind of a first thing. And then just begin to explore the industry because, the opportunity that I have in my company may not be the one for you. Right. But it may be another type of business, or another company. And that's okay. Explore and, find out what is for you and, what's you're going to be engaged with. Does that business allow you to do other things like connecting with the community and really support what you want to support with your business? Does it, allow you to live your values?
That is just phenomenal. Yeah, it was an opportunity that I found really interesting, but I personally didn't see myself doing insurance, so I couldn't do that. Now looking back on it, I almost should have done it, and then this would have been as sponsored by the Litvak. It's Litvak Leadership Live, sponsored by the Litvak Insurance Agency.
Right.
But hindsight's always 20/20. So Calvin thinks you should be in a rock band, and Barry
only if he's in my sound man. He's got to be my sound man.
Barry thinks that millennials like lumpy mail. So we've definitely got some opinions there. So we're at almost 30 minutes. It's gone by quick, and I'm going to ask you what I ask everyone else in our remaining couple of minutes. When people walk away from this, they're going to go, boy, that Jason, this is what I got from him. So Jason, what are people getting? What do you want them to remember? Go.
Yeah, and so maybe it's what we talked about. You asked me that question, and it caused me to think for a minute of what's the third thing, and I guess if I would leave you with that, whatever you do, whether you're a business owner, or whether you're a leader in a group or organization or a charity, surround yourself with people that have strengths. Don't try to put everything on yourself. Don't try to be the all. But as you begin to surround yourself with people with strengths that you don't have, and celebrate those strengths, that's going to make it so much better, so much more successful.
Yeah, the circle of influence, as I like to refer to it. I think I'm going to be getting my first sponsor. I'll be a sponsor of the Litvak. Come on now, Kenny. We're going to talk about this. I'm going to need your logo. So I think the circle of influence, like you bring it up, is so important because Facebook's the highlight reel. And there's some people's highlight reel that I look at and I'm like, ooh, if this is your highlight reel, I don't want your reality reel. I mean, who are you surrounding yourself with? Who is encouraging you into that? So I think you nailed it on the head.
Good deal.
I like it. So everyone, this has been Litvak Leadership Live. Jason, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you.
To talk about what you do. And hey, if you're thinking, insurance, I wonder if I qualify. I wonder if I'd be good at this. Jason Nicholson is your man to talk to. You can reach him on Facebook. You can reach him on LinkedIn.
Right.
I would try giving you his email address, but it's, they're so hard to get right. Jason_Nicholson at farmersinsurance.com. Or you can reach out to me.
Jason.Nicholson now. Jason.Nicholson at farmersinsurance.com.
Oh, it
changed. That's okay.
On LinkedIn. So, or you can reach out to me and I will put you guys together and talk about it. So again, Jason, thank you so much. Lots of fun, lots of good information. And I know that this is going to it's good to hear. It's really what I want to say, that this is your best year ever.
Yeah.
So that is always a good report. Everyone else, thank you so much. Be blessed, and we will see you tomorrow.